has now.
Thank you. Thank you. Hire an influencer. There's a specific influencer that covers things that you have here. Partner with them and use funds to have them come into town and go around things and y'all Instagram and different platforms. But that's something that we've had a lot of success with through our own campaigns as well as through other municipalities. So just another idea. There's the opportunities are endless, and we're just here to serve and help you in any way we can. Thank you.
Part 6, items, and testimony action items as the item is presented as normal. Part A is a second discussion and approval of ordinance 2023.009, an ordinance adopting annual capital and operating for year 2023. Mr. Williamson.
Since the budget to remove the $34,000 that were in community events, so that all those funds can be upcoming policy and have based on that policy. But there were no other changes from the first reading.
Councilman.
Mr. Question?
Please.
The policy is an application for that. So, do you?
Councilman Bob, you scheduled to meet this upcoming week, this week. Already done several of this new policy. I've and waiting until the stated meeting, just maybe figure out, once it's done, figure out an evening that we could have a special policy. Certainly our participation and goal to have completed by the August council meeting.
Is that going to be something that you guys have thought about it? Application like we do? Is it just for the meeting that you automatic get it thought process?
I believe there will be, well, if indeed we come up with a community impact fund, a couple sections explanatory, community events are groups, but if an outside group is applying, not necessarily be constrained by a date constraint, because these would be, the idea would be to already
An enterprise fund because it wasn't making money.
Still isn't.
Right, that's why we put it in the general fund.
So the general fund will shoulder the shortfall of the matter.
Correct.
Was that originally the intent of this facility? I mean, I know you can't answer that question. I'm just putting that out there.
I think it is varied based on the councils, but I understand what you're saying, but that was how we got to that point, was fund.
Okay. Page 3. Understand how quilters is Oh, it's all gone down to zero?
Yes, it's part of the sponsorship policy, so if you go back, you just left the descriptor.
Thank you for getting the turf installed on the, very much a hit.
The electric shocks.
And as far as a wage tax addressed in this budget?
For the
Only the 4 qualified?
correct, yes, that's the only thing.
I take
getting funded.
the 3,
I think the next item,
it's on page 4.
yeah, listed there, they're the ones that council approved for funding in the workshop.
I thought our legal predicament looks good.
Other comments?
If I may.
Please, Councilman McHenry.
A couple of comments that have been made. I just wanted to and your staff, I have here, I guess, physical therapy, they brought in here kind of on the last minute. I appreciate and a budget, we're budgeting 100 for which is back to pre-pandemic level. So I really do thank you for your effort. Mr. Williamson, on outside legal, follow up with that. $200,000 and we've used 100. So yeah, by the end of April. You know,
We're right at it.
okay. So, for sake of counsel, and I know our attorney has just spoken to that, just some of the same questions were asked, $200,000, and assume that Mr. Balazor's salary comes out of that.
About 25%.
Can we not assume the legal expense cases we're in are the balance of that?
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Because we are in the quandary of those opinions of the members. It's just a merry-go-round that we can't seem to get off because the same questions are answered. So I posed this to the media, the amount. I get that balance to the penny. So, I mean, we repeatedly come. So, look, I want litigation to end. The next guy.
Blank.
But the point blank, no, the point blank counsel could be detrimental to this council case. So our attorney to get with the attorney to that information being released, and I've never seen it.
Well, public, and it is whether you're opposed.
If someone asking our town council if we're going to release detrimental tied to release that.
I think you're assuming that people are going to release something that's detrimental to the case. Speaking of, I think that assumption is, Williamson said that 25% amount to salary. That did $50,000 budget. Use a back of the cocktail, 25% of what's spent is paid to attorneys. That's not tell you anything. A ballpark estimate and ballpark seats 60.
I'm just going
The fact is that we want to know how much to our, we get the same information that the public were stonewalled. And if you're saying members that are involved in litigation, council member is named in any of
I'm opposed to itemized bills, current litigation.
Council, like I said earlier, I'm not aware of a request at this time. Bills, we would take it up at that time, but my has always been redact specific information in the invoices showing the tasks that have been performed. The total amount of the bills is certainly public information. That will not be my opinion.
I agree 100%.
then I would like to go request these itemized tasks redacted. I would like them to be emailed to all 5 members sitting behind this table. I don't think that's enough.
We can resolve this. Mr. Figure out a plan for information. If they don't, the council, why? Ask this.
Yes.
I do understand what attorney can, information, that's your legal strategy, and you're given the legal strategy information to the public when it was in executive session. We don't want that to happen again, I believe, is what the attorneys are saying.
Attorneys sit here, the information, wants to see it. If Mr. Williamson goes and sits down with 3 attorneys, $450 an hour, on us another $1,600 for them to say, yeah, you can redact that and send it out, because the Sunshine Law says you have. Whether you object to it or not, it doesn't matter.
I understand where we at. All I know is we got a little bit we spend. That's all I'm asking. I'm not, we're the body that said yes to hire these folks. And these folks are telling me, I can't see it. I understand that. So then
I'm not,
because
I'm
I
not aware
can't
of that, Councilman. Executive session, if you want, that's time. In that executive session, you can speak to them about whatever you want to speak to them.
No, your differentiation is simply see the bills that we paid, asking for a legal strategy. We're clearly in the dark in regards to that. There's no dispute on this. We're just asking to see the bills. If you wanted to redact something, redact. They're billed monthly, there should be 12 23. School year 2020. I'd like to see those pieces.
We'll figure it out.
just Pete, I gave up on asking strategy a long time ago, so I don't care to know the strategy. It was never shared with me. But I want to know what we're spending these people's money. That's what I want to know. What exactly they're doing.
like I say, that would show. It depends on the detail, but you want to know what they've been doing, that can also be discussed in an executive session.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve the second reading?
Make a motion to approve the budget.
Second.
It's been probably motioned and seconded to approve the second reading of ordinance 2023.0. Any further discussion?
Roll call.
Councilman,
Was that me?
yes, sir.
No.
Councilman Ballman?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
I just, the reason I'm voting for the staff, because I do believe the staff deserve a cost of living increase. Thank you guys for all the hard work you all do.
Part B, reading, discussion and approval 2023. On changing the method of election for Blythewood. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This ordinance is identical to what was approved at first reading. There was a question during the first reading about if this were approved, and reached out and actually,
Did they give any indication as to what a district like? Is it 3 districts, 2 districts, 4?
well,
Haven't gotten there.
haven't gotten there.
Okay.
To be four, I mean, we're-
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's, well, yeah, 2 or, but the reference doesn't increase the number of members.
No.
Yeah.
Now, background just for, we don't remember. So in some research I was doing with the Mayor's Association, what I did is I went to Municipal Association website, pulled 271 municipalities in the state of South Carolina, the big cities. Populations go from 7 people in Cope, South Carolina, 4 in Evansville, goes to 36,000 in Columbia, 1,000 in Trenton. So I sorted them by population, and then I took the 1,000, give or take, 4772 to be exact, in the 2020. Gone up, obviously. So say we're at 5,000. I went down to 3,200 and up to 6,200 just to give us a sample size to see like municipalities. There's 30 of them that are around our size. 21 of them have 6 members, council members and a mayor. So then I brought to council a discussion of our workshops. Do we need to grow? Because Blythewood's going to continue to grow, and if we start annexing, you certainly grow. You just get one Blythewood, you got another families or however many houses. So do we want to plan for the future? Because when you take this action, we have to pass it 2 readings, and then we have to put it before the voters. They have to pass it, and then it won't take effect for 2 more years. And that's when you get your outside agency. So the question here, as it's today, is we're taking our and putting them in 4 districts in the future. Conversation came, I talked a little bit about 2 more members, told them 2 which will be at large, meaning you could have 2 or 3 people living in the same district. 2 of them would be at large seat holder. So that's kind of the conversation. Agree with 4, continuing 4 and 4 districts. That's what this vote would do tonight, right?
Yes, that's correct. Clarify that the question is, Blythewood change the method by which each town council from the at-large or each town council person voting excluding the election of the mayor. So that is establishing 4 districts.
not changing the number of.
Well, right, that's what I'm asking the council.
Not changing the total number of members.
Right now, that's to add 2
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I think that would be some significant changes that would need to reword the question to be put in the referendum, and we have to rework that.
Okay, so I guess what say you, members? Councilman Griffin?
Yeah, we'll go back a little bit further than the research you've done, because I remember that and appreciate it. I know when a lot of us started up here for districts annexation, I'm included in that, and I know in the beginning, too small and actually designated the town for districts. Yes, population has grown, but our borders hasn't grown. And I'm remembering that then because I use my home six as an example. I know we didn't agree that I'm glad we're working toward it because I do think that's more effective. The citizen out here can be a little bit more accountable than chasing down 2 or 3 kind of at-large members at one time. I'm concerned with but we should be focused on annexation zip code. Do this all at one time, because if we're going to spend money to draw this as is today within the same bounds, tomorrow we're going to be looking at annexation of the entire zip code. Why not spend the time a little bit more? Why citizens, if there were a referendum, on annexation of the entire
My
before this?
point, when I talk about this and some fellows, in order, let's say we all pretty much in population, and then we annex 700 new homes. Well, you can't add that, you can't redistrict yourself, which is every 10 years, proportionally more people, but it has to happen to have the official count, which is 10 years. Does that make sense? That's what I was told.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but I don't think it matters in a conversation. I'm still passionate about it and was passionate about it. Nowhere in that it talks about, lines of that sort, lines of some sort touching the town. I just that if we should go at it from that standpoint, or thinking to an at-large, so it'll crowd the space within the boundaries we're in, and would become somewhat effective, or could be less effective. But I the side of it first. Honestly, I think that's up to us, just like we're doing this today. I think it's really up to us if we how he feels about it.
That sounds more like a political question than a legal question. I'm not prepared.
Could annexation be put on the back?
Not this time, because there's only local elections. You'd need to go in 2024. So
I'm not sure. I'd have to look for the answer to that.
there's no,
It's got to be a state election.
yeah, so it
People
couldn't
outside,
happen
yeah.
2024. A couple of things, Mr. Mayor, just to add. My question is, if we, I don't see why it wouldn't, does it have to be 4 districts at large, or does it have to be 4 districts?
And it says large districts, large seats will be districts.
No, I understand. The ordinance state statute that requires us to have districts or 4 wards.
No,
So we could do 2, we could do 3.
you can mix and match.
Deciding on that tonight, if we move this to a referendum, then we are saying we want 4 districts.
That's right. The way the ordinance is, the ordinance that was given first reading changed it to districts.
Okay.
So I think if there, just like the other move to possibly 6 members and a mayor, I think a move to 2 districts, a mixture, I think that would need a rework ordinance also. But what we can do, I mean, we can come up with versions of the ordinance. The thing that gets tricky is that referendum question. Referendum question needs to be clear.
Yep.
It needs, that's to be approved, because the question that goes in the this 4 members from districts, members, 2 from districts, 2 at large, 6, and so forth.
Mr. Mayor,
Please.
I made with a motion to approve.
Second. Approve the second 23.008. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Second reading is approved. Part discussion and approval of.
Mr. Mayor, back in April, town asked the Blythewood Historical bids for the design of the Combat Veterans Memorial. Chair of Blythewood Historical Board, Mr. Malcolm Gorge, has requested to be on the agenda to give an update to council and request the $40,000 that council allocated towards the project in the current budget year.
Thank you very much, Mr. Williamson. That's safe work. We followed up on the request to bids through. We had 2 additional contractors that were well known in the area with the capability of producing the memorial, type of memorial that we had in mind. At the end of May, they both declined, to saying that on a major project at this time. So where we started, which is the board of the recommends that we proceed with the data that we received from Land Plan South for the design stage and geotech work for the Veterans Memorial, for the Combat Veterans Memorial, which was $23,500. The of the memorial may change depending on the outcome of all the around Langford Road. Primarily requesting the $23,500 so that we can see of say 20% to cover any result having to find a local. We've got a huge work in front of us to find the $250,000 to proceed, which the museum board undertake and will pursue. Take a considerable amount of time and good faith from all the people that are interested in supporting this. The request $23,500 and will a 20% contingency.
I will personally support that your board go part. Personally, I agree with where it originally was planned, but I'm just one vote. But we will take your recommendation whatever time.
Mr. Gordon, requesting 28.2
Exactly.
be the total. And a voice that said, hey, can we please get bids on this? So we're in the doing that. Mr. Mayor, if point, I would make a motion that council approve the 28 Historical Society is asking for out of the 40,000 allocation we have in this year's budget.
Second.
Seconded to approve the $28,000 for the Combat Veterans Memorial. Any discussion?
Yes. Just so that we're clear, there is a preliminary location. There's going to be some major 3 to 5. And at some point, everyone here realizes that something's got to give with Langford Road. I think your willingness to explore alternative locations is very wise. I think that there are lots of trucks and cars that take off and create very loud noise right past town hall. How do I know? We do Christmas, the tree lighting ceremony out there. We do a hard day out there and constantly interrupted by noise. If you're creating an environment that's serene and respectful, you don't want loud trains to be a hot topic month. To be able to offer someone an environment that can pay their respects. So I really think that an alternate location should be heavily explored. The individuals declined. I take your word. And lastly, do
The response to the campaign is, but
what's your ballpark? Okay. Good enough.
All in favor, signify. All opposed? Guys have it.
Thank you, Malcolm.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Part D, request qualifications for a new master park. Mr. Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few weeks ago, I sent this to you. Hopefully you've had time. But in the Group South design, the original plans for the park, we've asked them to be an advisor to the town and assist in the selection of a consultant to conduct. And before the council of this approach.
Mr. Williamson, the need for this new master plan is so that it incorporates the 4.5 swamp across the street, the McLean property that we just closed on, correct?
Correct.
Is it the intent to use all McLean property for and incorporate it into the park, or are we going to potentially look to do some sort of lighting and use for mixed use and other portions for recreation?
That's what I'm hoping to find out.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Discussion, I make a motion.
Second.
It's been probably to approve requests for qualifications for the new master plan for Duckland Meadows Park. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Part E, conservation park expansion across McLean Road.
Yeah, I need a name for that. No.
We can't take the swamp. It's probably
Get sued. In May, Wilson, when I attended the South Carolina Community Development Association and heard a presentation by a grant coordinator with South Carolina Parks, Recreation, and Tourism about grants and water conservation. These grants are to help fund, which of course we have come in our budget. We'd like to present funds for the development of 1.5 acres across McLean. The grant is a 50-50 up to $300,000. The biggest restriction is that the property must perpetuity. I'm just requesting the council because that is pretty much.
Please.
In light of the master plan approved, or the skeleton wording for the request, for the master plan, what it says, property, the 4.5 acres may better suit a maintenance shed or some other non-public use, the resident railroad track to get to. I maybe this until we is come back on the use of this land. That's which could.
It's my understanding it's going to reflect what the town council want it to look like. And they're just going to, they're going to give us the, like, for instance, we said we want fields, we want to use and adult recreation space. We want the boardwalk to extend the road with a push button across the street, and then we want the swamp, as Councilman Brock called it, recreation space, where through the park of recreation fields, so to be used for recreation. So it's my understanding that we tell them in it off the buffet and draw it the most logical.
Yes, I'm on the same page with you, and this is going to be see you're here. I'm going to put you on the spot. When we did the park we're now, was it a blank slate that they started, or a want list that we added to and took from? I viewed this map in more of a, here's what we have. Acquired, actually 2 pieces that we purchased and acquired. View that as a blank slate and us how to best develop.
Park was not any plan. The master plan was all of the Blythewood area. I went back and read it today. I need to read it again. It's about I would tell Carol, we need to get together and talk a little bit about, are there items in the initial master plan that would need to look at? Let me slip back to the initial question that the mayor brought. Was a list of what we want, and we want you to draw. We go out and hire an architect money. What my point is, in bringing on and using Rick McMacken with land plan, there's two people. I don't say this to be two people that know more about this park than anybody in Blythewood, myself and Rick McMacken. Rick and Ralph Walden pretty much did the overall design on the park. There was a lot of give and take with council, a lot of meetings, so on and so forth. But it wasn't included in the master plan. So everything we got here came about as a part of that process. What we're with the new acreage, someone like so much experience in here. He knows where the water lines are. He knows where the sewer lines are. But we'll just keep his hand on their back to kind of guide them a little bit. We would tell them if we want to do athletic fields for little every age group. We think we want to do such and such over here. We could give them our idea we want. But they're going to boots on the ground and look at it. They're going to interface with park patrons in public meetings, which I'm really looking forward to come up with a grand scheme. I could say, man, ball field on the little swamp. It's going to stick probably. It's going to recommend for the, or any of the other acreage in the park, because it also includes that. We just want to take a fresh look at everything we've got, and we got a start. We got a great start. We would probably tell them to, we don't want to tell them what we want to do, but we think we want to expand it. Let them tell us where we think we want to expand it. And the part of using a technical advisor, but on this one, we've got this for the past 10 or 12 years now. Will help in trying to forecast what we think with the rest of the acre. Rick has a lot of experience with this. There's a certain amount, and I don't know if Mayor Bailey would agree with me saying this, but went through the master in this new master plan. We're going to entertain. It'll be from out. There'll be big names. There'll be small names. There's a certain filter. If in your shoes when we went through councilman at the time, there's a certain filter questions that sometimes you just get an answer without a filter. It could be that filter for us, and I think he'll do a good job with it. He's got a lot of experience with these. I think it makes only that we utilize and he's simplified, but because let's get some outside viewpoints on things. Let's get somebody that doesn't know anything about it. And here's an example of the work that let's also use a filter to help get it down to the level.
Right.
So to answer your question, the details, we don't, and it'll be back and forth, but as I mentioned, we've got park patrons now. We didn't have that when we started, and I really hear what they have to say in public meetings.
Yeah, you said it a lot better. That was the difference. But absolutely, that's why I clear. Done it on the. We'll come in and say we want more recreation space, we want more walking trails, more opportunities to get outdoors. To begin and hear again from the city, and then have them go and do what they get paid to do. I absolutely agree with what you're saying. Yeah.
So, Mr. Mayor,
Please.
you finished?
Go ahead.
I get
A tremendous amount of events or a tremendous amount of facilities. I think ball fields, one of the things we heard, and Mayor Bailey asked to this, one of the things we heard, ball on those fields, and we want to move forward with the grant. I don't know the availability of the grant. We're done with the master plan. The master plan is going to take some time to come through. So
I don't think, I mean, this that comes around a lot, and this talk to the commission who would actually push their hands through it and push this. It comes.
if that's the case,
whether you want to say we're doing A, B, and C, or we be strategic about it, let the process that you all have set up in the line move forward without any restriction. Once we go this route,
I agree. On some type of regular basis, by all means, let's let the master planners go through and see what always overrule it. Let's go ahead and do this. We apply for the grant at that time. And play that card. Go ahead and let the master planners at it. There's a there's a needed Blythewood water ball. And let them see what they say.
Gotcha. And my last question, I know we got Mayor Bailey out here, and to give respect to Mayor Bailey, he was with you when this was just what was right in, so or to Bailey, are we the vision from your leadership at that time?
I believe so, for the most part. I think in terms of swamp area that Councilman Brock alluded to, the YMCA with that, because they were willing to help nature bridges and that nature, perhaps. I think that'll fit over there, to tell you the truth. But in overall terms, strategically, we wanted a place that the community and enjoy and have an event as the center we had over there. So yeah, hopefully I'm not as articulate.
I got to approve.
Second? No, I'll second. Okay. It's been about that piece of property across the street. You walk across McLean Road to get to it. Now, if they ever close, all of a sudden that light is probably having little kids walk across that street with their parents. It's terrifying for me. So, I say, I'd like a roll call vote on this.
Further discussion? I think it takes vision to set aside for citizens, regardless. I don't know if you've walked the Park Trail. Esquicentennial. So I've heard nothing good. The only first time I've heard objections was tonight about the parcel across the street.
That's not true.
I think 10 years from now, just like the naysayers that were there, all talked about this park. We have them today about some things we're doing now, but we're trying to do a master plan. We're trying to do it right, and I concur. I don't want to apply for a grant until we know that everybody's happy with the forward. And lastly, I don't think you meant, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I don't think you meant that we would apply for a grant to do Pop Warner football. It would be to apply for a grant.
That's correct.
And then we could rent that just like we do across the street.
No,
Just wanted to clarify that.
that's not true.
Ms. Durst, call, please.
Is that me? No.
Councilman Ballman,
Yes.
Councilman Griffin,
No.
Councilman McCarrick,
No.
Mayor Franklin.
No. We'll revisit that when the time comes. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.